This is a Windows Phone 7 game review of Cro-Mag Rally, which is available in the marketplace for $2.99 and is an Xbox Live game title. So this game is a pretty weird little racing game, and it sucks, basically. I do not recommend it. You can choose from a number of different maps, and there's a lot of different maps, and there's also a lot of different carts that you can use, and you have a choice of 2 different people to use here. But once you start getting into the game, you realize that there's not too much to it. All you have is your speed control, forward and reverse, and some brakes here, and then you can shoot some weapons at your enemies. And you basically just race against them, and you throw those weapons, and you try to make do with the really terrible controls that are way too chaotic, and the frame rate also feels pretty slow, and it doesn't feel like it's a perfectly fluid 30 frames per second, which sort of ruins the experience. As you can see, it just feels like way too much is going on. And on some maps, it's way too tough to tell where you're even supposed to be going. If you try to look at the map at the top right corner, you can't really tell where you are at all or which character you are. And once you get spun around, the course becomes very confusing and you're not sure which path to take. Another problem with the game is that there's no scoring system at all. So you don't get rewarded for collecting any of these items or anything other than being able to throw them at your enemies. The only thing you compete for is first place. And without a decent scoring system, the game doesn't become that exciting. And the worst thing is that when you go back and look at the levels, there's no way to tell which level that you actually got first place on. They're all just accumulated here. So it's not really exciting to go back and replay things at all. There are the leaderboards, which will tell you how many games you won and lost, but that doesn't really mean anything and doesn't give you a reason to go back and try a level again because you didn't get first place on it, since there's no star rating system or points or anything. There is a second mode, Gather, but it feels quite useless. All you do is you just try to collect these little arrowheads on the map, and then depending on how many you collect, they just multiply by 1,000, and then they give you some random point score, and that randomly goes into your leaderboards, so that you can sort of see those and compete with your friends for that score. But otherwise your score isn't very visible, and unless you actually check those leaderboards, the scoring system feels once again quite useless. Some of the maps are just really terribly designed, like this one, and the controls just never feel right. Another problem is there's no real E-brake in the game. There's just this brake, which is all 4 tires braking, and then there's reverse, which oddly, if you hit reverse in a turn, it just like instantly backs up the car, very unrealistically. So overall, the controls are really terrible. The visuals aren't that good because it just doesn't feel like it really is running at a smooth frame rate, especially with so much crap going on. And the controls are bad, and the whole gameplay system is bad. No scoring system, no way of telling what score you got or what place you came in on the levels. And overall, it just sucks. So really, don't buy this game. Wait for next week's Xbox Live title, and maybe it'll be halfway decent. Oh wait, I just remembered one other problem with this game. The difficulty settings are really crappy. If you have it on medium, it's usually way too easy to beat the game. And if you have it on hard, it's practically impossible to get first place. There's no real in-between setting there, so it makes it really unenjoyable. So do not buy Cro-Mag in the marketplace for $2.99. Subscribe to WP7 users to catch all the latest reviews.